I'm Phil Hoffman. I have the film Vulture in the festival. I'm very happy to be part of the festival this year. And here with Charlie, who I know very well from past experiences.
I'm super happy to be here with Phil and showing my work alongside him. Um, I'm Charlie Egleston. I've got two films in the festival. One is called Seesaw, and the other is called Watershed.
I'd like to start by talking about your films, but in the sense of what experimental film is, I think. And I was thinking about Seesaw, and I had a question, how you created that iris. It's such a, to go on what I first talked about, it's such a perfect metaphor for seeing. The iris is kind of like this thing that um, was used in early cinema to say we're starting or we're ending. But you go so much further. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. When I started uh, in on that project, I was actually recording these moments from life that were just spontaneous recordings, and they were actually long recordings. They were like the full wind of the Bolex, so like 30 seconds roughly. And I just to frame it, I would iris up and iris out, and I envisioned the film all along being about the long durational part of those shots. And then when I was when I was looking at the footage and seeing what was there, I realized that it was about seeing very much so, and I was focusing on these long gazes, but these iris fades that bracketed each shot were really what I was trying to communicate, in that these moments that I was capturing are quite fleeting, and um,
I,
they're
I like
they're
how you integrated your what I think is your family amidst other shots of just things happening in your neighborhood. Um, starting with this. I was thinking about it. Starting with this shot of the rooftops. There's a shot of two houses in the middle. Beautiful symmetry. Trees coming out of the middle. But as you go in and out, you go closer to the shot, and suddenly it's like a new picture. It's sort of like the way we focus in on something. And so I saw with some renditions of that shot, as you irised in closely, I thought I saw symmetry. Other renditions, I saw a neighborhood. So that shows you right there that the filmmaker's power of um, showing us what to look at, and I thought you did that well. I was really moved to see your family at play, quotidian experiences of the everyday, um, just snatches of time. Uh, I loved it.
Thanks. Yeah, the and part of that, the opening of the symmetrical with the houses, and it's a shot out the window, and it's a square. It's a square frame, and part of that was to establish that we're going to be framing the world a little differently in this piece, with using the round iris to move away from the squareness of the frame. But I also there's we're talking about seeing and perception, and in your film, Phil, I'm really curious about this. I mean, there's this mediator relationship between the vulture and kind of seeing from its perspective, but there's also these long, careful, meditative kind of uh, gazes that slowly zoom in on what we're seeing. So I was curious to hear what you had to say about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Vulture is basically I'm filming my neighbor's farm animals for a couple years, and what I found was how the animals have relationships. So the pigs sort of hung out with the cows, and the horses hung out with the goats. And as I filmed over time without any script, which is the way that I work, I started to see these relationships, and that was really exciting. So I first of all, I wanted to kind of show that. The vulture sort of comes up in the middle of the film, almost the exact middle of the film. The vulture oversees everything, the vulture is on high. So in a sense, you know, it shows, the different perspectives that are possible. But this film is processed with flowers, at least part of it. I use flowers, vitamin C powder, and washing soda to develop the film.
Yeah, that was another thing I was really interested in hearing about, because that's also lends itself to there's almost a hypnotic quality to some of the images, like some of the color images, and you can tell that working with different processes or alternatives to traditional photochemistry, it's affecting the image in very, very specific and beautiful ways.
I think one of the questions that we were talking about is like, how was everything expected? No, it wasn't. I used, maybe 15 to 20 different plants, and they all gave different kinds of results, whether it be the texture on the film, because the film is rubbing up against flowers. The different flowers give different textures, but also the color that comes out of the film and makes a chemical reaction with the film stock.
All right. Well, it's been great chatting with you, Phil, and having the opportunity to talk a little bit about our films. We're excited for people to check out our program online or in person if they're able to. And the in-person screening is October 21st at 6:30 p.m. at TAP, Center for Creativity.
Yeah, and if you want to check out my website, it's philiphoffman.ca, www.philiphoffman.ca, and I'm really looking forward to the screening and seeing you there, Charlie, and seeing a bunch of people in London. Very excited.
And you can find more about me at my website, www.charlieegleston.com. And for festival information, it's Forest City Film Festival, fcff.ca.